What if I told you that something millions of men do every single day, something they rarely talk about openly, is quietly changing one of the most important glands in their body? Not in a frightening way, not in a dangerous way, but in ways that science is only now beginning to fully understand. I'm your doctor today, and we're going to have the conversation most physicians skip during a routine checkup. We're going to talk about the prostate and what daily masturbation actually does to it, based on real science, real studies, and real biology. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear might change how you think about your health. The prostate, your body's overlooked powerhouse. Let's start with the basics. The prostate is a small, walnut sized gland, roughly 20 to 30 grams in a healthy adult male. It sits just below the bladder, wrapping around the urethra like a ring. Its primary job is to produce prostatic fluid, a component of semen that nourishes and protects sperm. But the prostate is far more than a fluid factory. It's a hormone sensitive organ. It responds to testosterone, to inflammation, to stress, and yes, to sexual activity. It's connected to your urinary system, your reproductive system, and your endocrine system all at once. When something affects the prostate, the ripple effects are felt throughout the body. And here's what most men don't realize: prostate problems are extraordinarily common. Prostate cancer is the second most common cancer in men worldwide. Benign prostatic hyperplasia, non-cancerous enlargement, affects over 50% of men by age 60 and over 90% by age 85. Prostatitis, or prostate inflammation, affects up to half of all men at some point in their lives. These are not rare conditions, they are the norm. And understanding what influences prostate health, including sexual activity, is genuinely important. What actually happens during masturbation? Let's talk mechanics. When a man becomes sexually aroused, blood flow to the pelvic region increases dramatically. The prostate gland becomes engorged. It swells slightly, fills with prostatic fluid, and during orgasm, it contracts rhythmically, expelling its contents into the urethra as part of ejaculation. Think of it like squeezing a sponge. The fluid goes out, the gland resets, the cycle begins again. When this happens occasionally, the prostate has ample time to recover between episodes. But when it happens every single day, sometimes multiple times a day, the dynamics change. The gland is in a near constant state of activity, and that changes things at the cellular, hormonal, and structural level. The fluid clearance effect. One of the most well documented effects of frequent ejaculation is what researchers call prostatic fluid clearance. Every time a man ejaculates, he flushes out the contents of the prostate ducts. This includes not just sperm and seminal fluid, but cellular debris, inflammatory byproducts, and potentially harmful compounds that accumulate over time. Think of your prostate as a pipe. Your body is constantly producing fluid that flows through it. If that fluid sits stagnant, if the pipe isn't flushed regularly, debris builds up. Inflammation sets in. The environment inside the gland becomes hostile. Regular ejaculation keeps things moving. It's the biological equivalent of running water through a pipe to keep it clean. A landmark study published in the journal European Urology followed over 31,000 men for 18 years. The findings were striking. Men who ejaculated 21 or more times per month, roughly daily, had a 31% lower risk of developing prostate cancer compared to men who ejaculated only 4 to 7 times per month. 31%. That is not a small number. A separate Harvard study found similar results. And while correlation is not causation, the biological mechanism, fluid clearance, provides a compelling and plausible explanation for why the association exists. Inflammation, the silent enemy of the prostate. Here's something most men never hear from their doctors. Chronic prostate inflammation is one of the most common and most underdiagnosed conditions in male health. It's called prostatitis, and it affects up to 50% of men at some point in their lives. Symptoms can include pelvic pain, a burning sensation during urination, difficulty urinating, pain during or after ejaculation, and sexual dysfunction. Many men live with these symptoms for years without knowing what's causing them. One of the contributing factors to chronic prostatitis, stagnant prostatic fluid. When fluid sits in the prostate ducts for extended periods, it triggers an inflammatory response. White blood cells flood the area. Inflammatory signaling molecules called cytokines start firing. The gland becomes irritated, swollen, and painful. Daily ejaculation appears to reduce this risk by keeping the ducts clear. Men who ejaculate regularly report lower rates of chronic pelvic pain syndrome. Some urologists actually recommend regular ejaculation as part of the management protocol for non-bacterial prostatitis. But here's the nuance. Frequency matters. Men who masturbate compulsively, multiple times per day, every single day, may experience the opposite effect. Overstimulation can lead to temporary inflammation, perineal muscle fatigue, and a condition called congestive prostatitis, where the gland becomes chronically engorged and irritated. The sweet spot based on current evidence appears to be once daily or slightly less. Hormonal changes, testosterone, and the prostate. Now let's talk hormones. This is where things get genuinely fascinating. Testosterone is the primary main sex hormone, and the prostate is exquisitely sensitive to it. When you masturbate, testosterone levels fluctuate in real time. Sexual arousal and orgasm cause a brief spike in testosterone. But what happens over days and weeks of daily masturbation? You've probably heard about semen retention, the practice of abstaining from ejaculation to boost testosterone. And there is a kernel of truth in it. Research shows that men who abstain from ejaculation for 7 days experience a significant spike in testosterone on day 7, up to 45% above baseline in some studies. But here's what those studies don't tell you. The spike is temporary. It doesn't persist beyond that 7-day window. After day 7, testosterone levels normalize, regardless of whether the man continues to abstain or resumes ejaculating. There is no strong evidence that daily ejaculation suppresses testosterone levels in the long run. What daily masturbation does appear to do is keep androgen receptor sensitivity in the prostate relatively stable. The gland adapts to regular stimulation. It doesn't become hypersensitive to testosterone fluctuations. This hormonal stability may actually be protective against benign prostatic hyperplasia, the non-cancerous enlargement of the prostate that affects most men over 50. Structural and cellular changes. Does the prostate physically change if you masturbate every day? This is the question I get asked most often. The short answer: not dramatically, in healthy men. The prostate doesn't grow larger simply because of daily ejaculation. It doesn't shrink either. What changes are more subtle, at the cellular and molecular level. Studies using MRI imaging have shown that men who ejaculate frequently have different patterns of prostatic fluid distribution. The ducts appear more consistently clear. There's less evidence of ductal stasis, that stagnant fluid buildup we discussed. At the cellular level, regular ejaculation appears to promote healthy turnover of epithelial cells, the cells lining the prostate ducts. Old, potentially damaged cells are shed more regularly. New cells replace them. This cellular renewal may be one of the mechanisms behind the reduced cancer risk we discussed earlier. There's also emerging research on the prostate's microbiome. Yes, the prostate has its own microbial ecosystem. Preliminary data suggest that regular ejaculation may help maintain a healthier microbial balance in the prostate, reducing the risk of bacterial colonization that can lead to infectious prostatitis. PSA levels. What daily masturbation does to your numbers. If you're over 40, you've probably had a PSA test, or you should have. PSA stands for prostate-specific antigen, and it's a protein produced by the prostate gland. Elevated PSA levels can indicate prostate cancer, inflammation, or enlargement. Here's something important to know. Masturbation temporarily raises PSA levels. Not dramatically, but measurably. Studies show that PSA levels can be elevated for up to 48 hours after ejaculation. If you're going in for a PSA blood test, abstain from ejaculation for at least 48 hours beforehand. Otherwise, your results may be artificially elevated, potentially leading to unnecessary follow-up testing or anxiety. Age matters. Young men versus older men. The effects of daily masturbation on the prostate are not uniform across age groups. Age matters significantly. In younger men, teens and men in their 20s, the prostate is still developing. It's highly responsive to hormonal signals. Daily masturbation in this age group doesn't appear to cause harm and may actually establish healthy patterns of prostatic fluid clearance that persist into adulthood. There is one controversial finding worth mentioning. Some research suggests that very high-frequency ejaculation during the teenage years may be associated with a slightly higher risk of prostate cancer later in life. The hypothesis is that frequent sexual activity during the period of rapid prostate development may expose the gland to higher levels of hormonal stimulation at a vulnerable time. This research is preliminary, contested, and most experts do not recommend changing behavior based on it. But it's worth knowing. In men over 50, the calculus shifts clearly in favor of regular ejaculation. The prostate is already showing age-related changes. BPH is common. PSA levels are rising. In this context, regular ejaculation, whether through masturbation or partnered sex, appears to be clearly beneficial. It reduces inflammation, maintains fluid clearance, and may slow the progression of BPH symptoms. The brain-prostate connection. We can't discuss daily masturbation without addressing the brain, because the prostate doesn't operate in isolation. It's part of a complex neuroendocrine system that connects your mind, and your body in ways we're still discovering. Orgasm triggers a cascade of neurochemicals: dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and prolactin. These chemicals affect mood, stress levels, and sleep quality. Regular orgasm has been associated with lower cortisol levels, cortisol being the primary stress hormone. Why does this matter for the prostate? Because chronic stress is a known risk factor for prostate inflammation. High cortisol levels promote inflammatory pathways throughout the body, including in the prostate. By reducing stress through regular sexual release, men may be indirectly protecting their prostate health. There's also the sleep connection. Men who masturbate before bed often report better sleep quality. And sleep is when the body does its most important repair work, including in the prostate. Growth hormone released during deep sleep promotes tissue repair and immune function. Better sleep means better prostate health. It's a chain reaction, and it starts in the brain. Diet, lifestyle, and the masturbation prostate equation. Masturbation doesn't happen in a vacuum. The effects we've discussed are influenced by your overall lifestyle. Diet plays a significant role in prostate health. Men who consume diets high in processed foods, red meat, and saturated fats tend to have higher rates of prostate inflammation and cancer. Men who eat diets rich in lycopene, found in tomatoes, selenium, zinc, and omega-3 fatty acids tend to have healthier prostates. Here's the interesting intersection. Zinc is a mineral that's highly concentrated in prostatic fluid. Every ejaculation depletes a small amount of zinc. Men who masturbate daily and eat zinc-poor diets may gradually develop mild zinc deficiency, which can affect prostate function, immune response, and testosterone production. The fix is simple: eat zinc-rich foods. Oysters are the richest source. Pumpkin seeds, beef, chickpeas, and cashews are also excellent options. Exercise is another factor. Regular aerobic exercise reduces systemic inflammation, improves blood flow to the pelvic region, and supports healthy hormone levels. Combining regular exercise with regular ejaculation appears to be synergistic. The benefits compound. When to be concerned? Daily masturbation is not universally beneficial. If it's compulsive, interfering with relationships, work, or daily functioning, that's a psychological issue that deserves professional attention. From a purely physical standpoint, men who masturbate multiple times daily may experience perineal muscle fatigue, temporary erectile dysfunction, and reduced ejaculatory volume. These effects are usually temporary and resolve with a day or two of rest. Men with existing prostate conditions should consult their urologist before establishing a daily routine. And remember, masturbation is not a substitute for regular prostate screenings. If you're over 40, talk to your doctor about PSA testing. Early detection saves lives. Practical takeaways and closing. So, what does all of this mean for you? If you're a healthy adult male with no existing prostate conditions, daily masturbation appears to be, on balance, beneficial for prostate health. The evidence for reduced cancer risk is compelling. The hormonal effects are largely neutral to positive. If you're over 50 and concerned about your prostate, regular ejaculation is something worth discussing with your doctor. Simple, free, zero side effects. And if you've been told that masturbation damages the prostate, depletes your testosterone permanently, or ruins your athletic performance, The scientific evidence does not support those claims. The prostate is a remarkable organ, small, often overlooked, but central to male health. The science is telling us something counterintuitive. Regular sexual activity, including masturbation, appears to be good for the prostate. Not because of mysticism, but because of basic biology. Fluid dynamics, cellular renewal, hormonal balance, inflammation control. I'm not here to tell you what to do with your body. I'm here to give you the information you need to make informed decisions. Decisions based on evidence, not shame, not myth, and not internet folklore. If you found this useful, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Talk to your doctor. Get screened. Take care of yourself. This has been your health briefing. Take care of yourselves, gentlemen. Your prostate will thank you.